At UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey, the main event is a fight that I don't think anybody was expecting, but one that nobody can deny they will tune into on Fight Night. For the UFC Lightweight Championship, you have the reigning, defending, some would say unstoppable, 155-pound king in Islam Makhachev, trying to rack up his third successful title defense against one of the most tested veterans in the sport and one of the lightweight division's most tested contenders in Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Poirier versus Makhachev has a very similar feel to Nurmagomedov versus Poirier, which headlined in Abu Dhabi at UFC 242, coincidentally the second to last fight on Nurmagomedov's UFC career. That was Dustin's first shot at undisputed gold, and he came up short via a rear naked choke submission loss to add to the undefeated record of Nurmagomedov. He would get a second title shot against Charles Oliveira, where he would rock the champion 2 times but eventually succumb to a third round standing rear naked choke submission. This is his third and most would say final chance to claim undisputed gold. And although many people may believe that Poirier doesn't deserve the title shot, there weren't a ton of contenders knocking on the door at 155 pounds. Charles Oliveira faced Arman Tsarukyan the same night that Poirier took on the highly contested and many believe future champion in the dominant Benoit Saint Denis. And that's exactly what he looked like heading into this fight against his toughest test in Dustin Poirier. He looked dominant, he looked unstoppable, and he looked like a buzzsaw that was going to run through another stablemate at 155 pounds. However, the Diamond had something to say about it. Poirier would have to survive takedown after takedown after takedown, getting his back taken, getting the body triangle put in, and almost getting submitted with another rear naked choke. However, Poirier would survive and continue to work his way back up to the feet before cracking Benoit Saint Denis with a straight left hand and then following up with a vicious counter right hook as Saint Denis tried to throw his rear power side, and then following up with one more ground and pound strike as Saint Denis crumbled to the floor for a second round TKO victory. Arman Tsarukyan won a somewhat convincing but also competitive decision against the former champion in Charles Oliveira this same night. However, Arman was not ready to take on Islam Makhachev at this point, according to himself and also to his head coach. So the Diamond was given another crack at undisputed gold. And people are expecting the same song and dance, a rinse and repeat from the Oliveira and Nurmagomedov fight, where Poirier may have 1 or 2 moments of success, but for the most part he's going to be taken down, suffocated, controlled, and eventually submitted or finished with ground and pound. However, when a man has his last chance to rise to the top of the mountain, they always come out fighting harder than they ever have before. Poirier has more than a chance to knock out Islam Makhachev on the feet. However, that's one reason why I believe Makhachev to be a more complete fighter than Khabib, because he can compete on the feet, he can knock people out, and he does have more dangerous striking than people are led to believe, showcased in 2 of his most recent fights. One, the title-winning performance against Charles Oliveira, where he dropped him with a counter hook and then eventually followed up to lock in the arm triangle to claim the lightweight championship. And most recently, his rematch, albeit on short notice, against the man who took him to the limit in Alexander the Great Volkanovski, who got a split decision loss, but many people believed Volkanovski won that first fight. But even though the second fight was on short notice, Islam Makhachev made short work of one of the greatest 145-pounders on the planet with a vicious left head kick in the opening round of the title bout at UFC 294, claiming another successful title retention. So what are we expecting from this title bout between Makhachev and Poirier? We're expecting Makhachev to be the much more talented grappler, but we're also expecting Poirier to be more than prepared for a stylistic matchup like this, facing the likes of Benoit Saint Denis and Khabib for his first title shot. He's going to be ready for the takedowns. He's going to be ready to get taken down, get controlled, get his back taken, and get put in multiple submission attempts. The question is, can he defend it? For how long can he defend it? And will he be able to defend it long enough in order to get the fight to remain on the feet and crack Islam Makhachev with his dangerous boxing combinations? I believe Poirier has more than a shot to walk out as the new undisputed UFC lightweight champion. But if Islam Makhachev was to come into this fight, take down Poirier and submit him early, or even crack Poirier on the feet with his underrated striking, it would not surprise me. I feel like most people are counting out Poirier, but whenever you count out a man who's been in as many fights against as many top contenders as Dustin Poirier, there's always a chance that he can claim the upset. And I think that this is the last dance for Poirier, and potentially his only chance to be an undisputed champion in the premier mixed martial arts organization in the world. And when that's the case, special things can happen. And one thing we do know is that diamonds are only created under one thing, and that's pressure.